Hi everyone, and welcome back to our Simple Abundance here as we discuss Sarah Von Bronick's book Simple Abundance together this year. It's August 13th and we are continuing our discussion about being an artist in your life, however that may come about for you. Not necessarily a work of art that may be in a museum, but Sarah starts this entry out calling life a canvas. And we've discussed this before. I think it was back in February. We first talked about being the artist of our lives. But it's funny because, some of the things that I said yesterday that were my own thoughts prior to reading some quotes from yesterday's entry they're reiterated in today's entry from Sarah. Again, talking about being an artist in the everyday, like we talked about a little bit yesterday. But just like I said yesterday about getting hung up on thinking about that you have to create a work of art that would be in a museum, this is more about having the flow of being an artist in your everyday experience. So she makes a good point here too, and I can relate to this. Admittedly, this concept is almost impossible to register when we're exhausted, overwhelmed, and frazzled. But it is certainly worth meditating on as we savor the last days of summer. You may not draw, paint, sculpt, sew, knit, sing, dance, or act, but baking a cake could be as much of a work of art as choreographing a ballet. Remember she wanted us to bake a cake from scratch. I think that was last month. I don't think any of us were able to do that. So she gives some examples of coaxing a tired, hungry toddler to do whatever you need them to do, helping a friend, comforting an aging parent, planning a birthday party. Whatever you're about to do today, she says, it can be transformed into art if your heart is open and you're willing to be the great creator's conduit. We've talked a lot about that already. Women are artists of the everyday. The world does not acknowledge or applaud everyday art, so we must. I like that. We are the keepers of sacred truth. We must cherish this wisdom and pass it on to those we love. What do you guys think about that? Do you think about ways that you could think of your everyday tasks as a work of art? Hopefully you were thinking about it a little bit after the discussion from yesterday. I was thinking about some of the home caring things that we talked about, or she called it puttering, right? Like around the house and making like little still life sort of setups for the seasons and things like that. I can see being creative at home. I think I could be more creative in my work and in tackling all the things that I'm trying to do right now. I have a tickle in my throat. I need to take a drink. Just a second. It is a beautiful summer day, though. I hope that you've been able to enjoy it if you're having one there, too. As an artist, I have come to know that there are 3 very different layers of creation. Oh, this is interesting. I read this earlier. So she calls it the labor, the craft, and the elevation. So that's like a stage of the various levels of creation. And she tells us St. Francis of Assisi explains the creative process this way. This is interesting too. Listen to this. The woman who works with her hands only is a laborer. A woman who works with her hands and her head is a craftswoman. A woman who works with her hands, her head, and her heart is an artist. So there you go. We talked about living with the heart, living from the heart. So living from the heart could be also being an artist of the everyday. I like that. Sarah goes on to say, labor is creation and showing up to do the work. craft is how you go about it. And what about the last one? Elevation. Oh, okay, here we go. Well, she uses the baking the cake as an elevation of art. You don't just throw the flour, eggs, butter, sugar, and salt into a bowl all at once and stir the lumpy mess with a flick of your wrist. You sift the flour 3 times, beat the eggs. Anyway, she makes it into this whole elaborate sounding process, right? So love is present. Love is the spiritual energy that induces elevation. Okay, so backtracking here, we have the labor, the craft, and the elevation. So love is needed for the elevation. I like that. It takes a lifetime to create the work of art for which we were born, which is creating an authentic life, she tells us. That's what we're working on right now, all year. But it only takes 5 minutes to center yourself before you begin each new task today. 5 minutes to acknowledge in your soul that you are an artist of the everyday. 5 minutes to give thanks for your personal gifts. 5 minutes to offer your love, creative energies, and enormous talents to the person, idea, or project awaiting your attention. She wants us to finally exclaim this, okay? I am a brilliant, gifted artist of the everyday. My art is a blessing for me and mine. So that might be a new little affirmation that you could add to your list of affirmations if you feel like that spoke to you. This is really making me think a lot, because it's just another way of connecting with myself and listening to the voice of spirit. I just thought of something totally unrelated that I've been meaning to tell you guys for the last week. The channel just hit 10,000 views, and I was watching it, and I actually thought I had maybe a couple weeks to go until I got it, so I kept thinking, I've got to say something, and then yesterday we hit that. So let me know if you want me to do something like totally nuts to commemorate that. I don't know, eat 10,000 cookies or something. Something like that. I'm not doing 10,000 push-ups. I could pet Annabelle 10,000 times. That would be a long video. Anyway, thank you so much for your support. 10,000, and that's only August. So maybe it'll be 20,000 by the end of the year. Who knows? But anyway, I didn't set out for this to be, something that I got fame from or anything, like I said, but it sure does feel good to talk to you guys. And and one other thing I was going to say related to this project that spoke to me is 2 days ago I was sitting on the couch, just took a snack break and looked out at the birds like I like to, and all of a sudden I saw this huge thing in the tree, and it was a hawk. I mean, giant hawk, and I'd never seen a hawk that close. He was right back in this apple tree here, and he was a Cooper's hawk. I looked it up, and there were a couple ways to identify him. Anyway, I took a video and everything, but being the Carolyn that I am, I had to look up online to see what the spiritual message of seeing a hawk was, because that was really unique. And then he was really like right here for me, like right in my yard, and there was a lot in the message of the hawk as far as like really having new vision, because they are able to just glide and see something and then hone in on it. But there was something else about expressing yourself and sharing gifts with others, and it just really, I wish I had written it down. I should have read it out loud, but it really just seems so well aligned with coming on and talking to you guys on the channel. And like I said, half the time I don't even know who's watching, because there's a kind of a regular crew of people that comment, but then there's so many others that are watching. So I guess the message is getting out there, and if you're one of those people watching and you haven't left a comment, feel free to join in the conversation. I love to read the comments and feedback. So anyway, it was a neat message from the hawk. And there's definitely beauty and art in my yard and the gardening that I do, and then setting up all my feeders and everything for the birds. I think I'm a bird feeding artist because I like to try lots of new little treats. In this one right here, this is my favorite one to watch. I have these bark butter bits, they're called, and they're like little suet nuggets, and the birds love those. So I try to have like fun little options, various things in each feeder, and I like to see which ones they like a lot. And then I can't tell, in the back there's a suet cage holding these suet balls also that are made of insect worms and stuff like that. So yeah, they're loving it. My birds are happy in my yard, so I could be a bird feeding artist. I like that. Anyway, think about how you can bring more art and conscious living authentically into your everyday experience. There's been so many ways we've already talked about this year, and hopefully you're hearing the same message but in a new way, and maybe it's sparking your interest or your thoughts in a new way. Anyway, thanks for being here again, and I will see you soon. Let me know if you have any ideas for what crazy thing I should do to mark the 10,000 views on the channel. All right, take care. Bye.